It is a good evening to you viewers, and thank you for joining us on yet another episode of Crime Watch. In this program, we highlight to you our roles and operations and extend a hand to you to join us in fighting the scourge of crime. My name is Onisisa Sibanda. COVID-19 is real, and we keep on encouraging members of the public to follow the government's directives meant to contain the spread of the disease. The Zimbabwe Republic Police has put in place initiatives to protect its members and the public from the virus. Numerous checkpoints into and out of the central business districts across the country have been established, while some personnel are deployed at business centers and service stations, among other places, to encourage social distancing at all times. Meanwhile, the Z-Therapy is rolling out nationwide programs meant to conscientize its members and officers on policing issues to do with COVID-19.
We are a team that is moving around the provinces to conscientize our police officers on the policing issues pertaining to how we are supposed to police during this period of the lockdown. You are aware of the fact that there are certain challenges that are being faced as we are in this lockdown. So we are just conscientizing our police officers to follow the dictates of the law, to actually follow all the statutory instruments that have been put in place by government. So this is what we are doing. We're going around the provinces trying to conscientize all the police officers in that regard.
The 2020 tobacco marketing season has begun, and farmers are bringing in their produce to several auction floors in Harare, Rusape, Chinoi, Karoi, Mvuri, and Marondera. Police officers are deployed at all auction floors to ensure that COVID-19 preventive measures are adhered to. Farmers are encouraged to practice personal hygiene and maintain social distance when selling the golden leaf. Police in Mashonaland East Province continue to enforce the lockdown regulations. They have embarked on awareness campaigns in the province, covering both rural and urban areas, urging people to adhere to the regulations and avoid the spread of the virus. Still in Mashonaland East Province, police have joined hands with the Zimbabwe National Army to enforce COVID-19 preventive measures.
A number of police checkpoints have been set up in and around Marondera town. Police are on the ground making sure that people continuously comply with the set regulations. Those who are not complying are being arrested and being made to pay fines. We would like to take this opportunity to thank members of the public for complying with the set regulations. And more so, we would like to urge members of the public to continue to stay at home and minimize movement.
The following people have been arrested, convicted, and given varying sentences across the country. Bruce Kudzai Mutsikwa, aged 23, who robbed 25 complainants of various property, appeared at Harare Regional Court, where he was convicted and sentenced to 58 years imprisonment. Gift Chimbora, aged 18, and 39 others who tried to violently force police officers to release their colleagues who had been detained for a case of robbery, appeared at Gokwe Magistrate Court, where they were convicted. 10 of the accused were sentenced to 5 years imprisonment each, while the other 30 were sentenced to 7 years imprisonment. Lloyd Mabiti, aged 26, who stabbed the deceased Nobody Kandia, aged 37, once on the stomach with a knife, following a misunderstanding during a beer drink, appeared at Mutare High Court, where he was convicted and sentenced to 25 years imprisonment. Police will not hesitate to arrest anyone who breaches the government's directive when it comes to fighting COVID-19. In a recent case, police in Bulawayo have apprehended a pastor for conducting a church service where more than 50 people were in attendance, contravening the lockdown directives.
We received a tip-off to the effect that there was a church gathering. We then responded to that information. We managed to arrest the church leader who was leading a congregation. They were all brought to this station and they were made to pay fines. As Z-Therapy, we urge members of the public to refrain from public gatherings which have been banned by Statutory Instrument 83 of 2020. COVID is for real. We urge members of the public to stay at home, observe social distancing, and sanitize.
We take a short break. Join us in the second segment. We're in the second segment of Crime Watch. In our previous episodes, we covered stories where police are partnering the Ministry of Health and Childcare and city councils to disinfect or fumigate public places. Pursuing this same objective, Police Education Department has gone on an overdrive to conduct the same exercise at all police learning institutions across the country. We caught up with the fumigation team at ZRP Tomlinson Primary School.
The exercise that we are conducting as the Education Department in the Zimbabwe Republic Police is the fumigation of all our ZRP schools. As we may know, we have many schools which are dotted across the country. Currently, we are now at Tomlinson Depot Primary School. We have already done ZRP High School and ZRP Maybelline School. The other schools are going to be done in the next few days from now. We know that sooner or later our schools are going to reopen, and when the schools reopen, there will be many learners at the school, and teachers will also be coming from different parts of the country. The most important thing is for us to be proactive and ensure that our schools are properly fumigated so that whatever traces of virus that may be in the school is destroyed before the schools open. We are telling our heads of schools and our school development committees to also be prepared for other measures that we will take as soon as the schools open. These measures will also include a possible fumigation of the schools when the schools open. We will also ask all the schools to have sanitizers. Working together with the Department of Health in the ZRP, we are also exploring the possibility of screening our learners and teachers when they come, so that if there is anyone who may be infected from wherever they are at the moment, because they are scattered all over the country, they are screened at the onset before they get into the school to avoid them contaminating the other learners and the teachers, as well as their parents when they go back home. Our passionate plea is for this exercise not to end at the ZRP schools, but we are also appealing to other stakeholders wherever they are to ensure that all places where people gather are fumigated so that this disease is contained. It is important to continue observing the regulations that have been prescribed to us by the World Health Organization. That includes social distancing, but most importantly, personal hygiene.
I just want to convey our gratitude to the education section at Police General Headquarters for making arrangements for the fumigation of these classes, so that when we open schools, our learners will be safe, considering that we have got 1,677 learners who, if there is no any fumigation done, then they will be at risk. In so doing, having this exercise would enable us to prevent our learners from the COVID-19 pandemic, which has bedeviled many countries worldwide. But with this exercise, I just want to reassure our parents and stakeholders at large in the education section that with this exercise underway today, when schools open, our learners will be free from the COVID-19 pandemic.
The lockdown period has seen extensive rehabilitation of the country's roads nationwide. Road users are encouraged to prioritize road safety on our rehabilitated roads.
There are 6 conditions which feature in any road traffic crash matrix if these conditions are unfavorable, one of the conditions is the road condition. As Traffic Safety Council of Zimbabwe, we are happy that during this lockdown period, this period where unnecessary movement of traffic is prohibited, we have seen road authorities, local authorities taking advantage of the lack of traffic on the roads to try and improve the road infrastructure. We have always been advocating talking roads for our road users. Talking roads are roads which will speak back to the driver, which will communicate with the driver because of road signs, markings, as well as signs on the particular roads. So the dual carriageway markings, for example, in the city of Harare, we've realized that the city of Harare has embarked on a massive project of redoing the dual carriageway markings so that after the lockdown, after all has been said, done and dusted about the COVID-19 pandemic, our road users are going to be coming back to one of the best setup of the roads in Harare, which means they will be having the talking roads that will tell you what to do. You don't have to be asking questions and interrogating the road situation. It is clear to you because of the signs as given in the highway code that you should be able to interact and make your way in terms of navigation. Perfect navigation because of roads dual carriageway markings. We would like to urge other road authorities elsewhere, the DDF, the Department of Roads, to take advantage. We've also seen massive construction work along the highway. This is so prudent, this is so strategic, because the limited movement of vehicles will afford the road construction work to be done at its maximum. And the timing is just perfect because of the low volumes of both vehicular as well as human traffic. However, we have in the countryside road networks which cut across our rural areas where we have our farmers, where we have our subsistence and commercial farmers. Animals must be kept away from the road. That is a cause for concern. Those who are herding animals, you are supposed to know that it is an offense to let your animals stay on the roads. And it is punishable at law. That's one thing. Keep them in their crows at night. For farmers, you need to have your paddocks where you do your rotational grazing. So this is the only risk factor that we are likely to face during this lockdown of animals straying on the roads. However, given the limited also movement or low volume of vehicular traffic, we are expecting drivers to stay alert for stray animals. These are some basic tips, back to basics of looking after our animals and keeping them safe away from the roads. However, we are very happy at the strategy by local authorities whereby they are rehabilitating the roads. At this particular time in moment, this is not an inconvenience. You will not experience Lamadi tours because they are doing it in a time and season when we are locked down at home. And good people, let's stay at home in order to stay safe. COVID does not move. It is moved by people.
Welcome to the third and final segment of Crime Watch. In Bulawayo, CID Western Commonwealth has arrested Matthew Tafadzwa Bushu for several cases of unlawful entry and theft. His arrest led to the implication of 3 other accomplices and recovery of stolen property.
Detectives from CID Western Commonwealth arrested one accused by the name Matthew Tafadzwa Bushu, who was a wanted person in a previous case of unlawful entry and theft which occurred sometime in April 2019, where he broke into a church in Nguenja and stole musical instruments. Upon arrest, the accused admitted to having committed a total of 7 more cases within Bulawayo West District, and he went further to implicate 3 other accused persons. A team of detectives were able to track and account for the 3 of his accomplices. Upon arrest, some recoveries were made. Properties which were recovered include the musical instruments. Furthermore, they had also stolen from the same church kitchen utensils, which includes plates and dishes, and a desktop, amongst other properties which were recovered. I urge members of the public to work hand in glove with the police in supplying information relating to accused persons which are terrorizing members of the public.
A car-breaking syndicate has also been arrested in Bulawayo following a tip-off from members of the public. The arrest led to the recovery of 2 Honda Fit vehicles and property worth 47,000 Zimbabwean dollars.
I received a tip-off from members of the public to the effect that a syndicate of car breakers were seen in the CBD trying to break into a vehicle. I traced and followed these syndicates who were said to be operating on a blue Honda Fit with no registration plate. They saw a roadblock ahead and detoured. Then I continued to follow them, and they took the Old Force Road. That is when another red Honda Fit came cruising past my vehicle, and I became even more suspicious. They then parked their vehicle at the intersection of Old Force Road and Force Road. After some few minutes, the syndicate started sharing some loot that I suspected to have been stolen. I approached them. I introduced myself as a police officer, and the syndicates did not comply. I was forced to fire a warning shot into the air and managed to arrest 1 accused person who was driving the red Honda Fit. However, the rest of the syndicates who were on the blue Honda Fit did not comply and managed to jump into the blue Honda Fit and sped off. I managed to arrest the other accused person and took him into my vehicle, and we followed the blue Honda Fit. As we drove about a kilometer, somehow the syndicate's vehicle could not move any further. We managed to follow them, and they dumped the vehicle into the bush, and they started fleeing into the bushy areas. I parked my vehicle behind the vehicle and ran after one of the syndicates and managed to apprehend him.
On further investigations, it was discovered that the syndicate had criminal implements in their vehicles, which comprises of homemade Allen keys and scissors. As a result of the arrest, property worth 47,000 was recovered. And also recovered were foreign number plates which were used by these criminals to disguise as they went around committing crimes around the Bulawayo province. I would like to thank the work done by the members of the public by supplying credible information which led to the arrest of these criminals, which will actually go a long way to send a signal to would-be criminals that Bulawayo is a no-go area for such criminal activities.
CID Nyamapanda has arrested an unrepentant ex-convict for a spate of unlawful entry and theft cases which he committed from the time he was released on presidential pardon on the 24th of March up to the 20th of April. His arrest led to the recovery of several household goods and electrical gadgets.
The Zimbabwe Republic Police Criminal Investigation Department CID Nyamapanda arrested 1 suspect, Traimo Munetsi, alias Tafire Mutsa Murewa of Nyamapanda. The suspect was arrested following a tip-off from members of the public to the effect that he was carrying suspected stolen property. Upon being intercepted and being arrested by the detectives, he led to the recovery of more property which he had stolen in and around Nyamapanda. The suspect was interviewed and he indicated about 7 more houses that he had broken into and stolen property, which included cell phones and laptops. Property worth 98,000 Zimbabwean dollars was stolen and property worth 48,000 Zimbabwean dollars was recovered. The Zimbabwe Republic Police would like to warn criminals to desist from their criminal activities and would like to continue applauding members of the public for their cooperation in providing valuable information to the police.
In another case, detectives in Murewa arrested 2 suspects for a case of robbery. Let us hear more from Detective Inspector Portia Chino.
The Zimbabwe Republic Police Criminal Investigation Department, CID Murewa, arrested 2 suspects, Brandon Chapendama and Raymond Chatama, for a case of robbery. Their arrest followed a tip-off from members of the public who informed the detectives that the 2 were suspiciously moving around the Murewa shopping center. Upon being arrested, the 2 led to the recovery of stolen property and a Honda Fit which was taken in a robbery in Rua on 21 April 2020 at around 1945 hours. The 2 suspects proceeded to a house in Rua where upon arrival they threatened the security guard wielding a rifle, and they proceeded to the house where upon knocking at the door, the maid actually saw that the guard was in the company of 2 unknown men. Then she didn't open the door and informed her employer, who in turn hid in a bathroom. Whilst hiding in a bathroom, the 2 suspects, force marching the security guard, broke the door to the house. They entered into the house and ransacked the house. They also broke the bathroom door and threatened the owner of the house and the maid to come out and give them cash and valuables. And they went away in the driving in the complainant's Honda Fit. The Zimbabwe Republic Police would like to thank members of the public for supplying credible information which led to the arrest of the 2 suspects and also led to the recovery of property which was stolen in the robbery.
Before we come to the end of this episode, we would like to highlight some people who are on the police wanted list. ZRP Airfield Floods is looking for Valentine Munodawafa, aged 29, of Block 57, Old Highfields, Harare, for a case of indecent assault. ZRP Mbembesi is looking for Lloyd Nyoni, aged 34, and Mzikona Hadebe, aged 17. Lloyd Nyoni, whose last known address is stand number 113, Nyazi Resettlement, Ndabazinduna, is wanted for a case of malicious damage to property. And Mzikona Hadebe of stand number 3, Sojini 2, Chief Ndondo, Mbembesi, is wanted for a case of assault. Anyone with information that may help in the location of any of these people should report to any nearest police station or contact us on the following details. Our National Complaints Desk number is 0242 703631. The website address is www.zrp.gov.zw. You can email us on feedback@zrp.gov.zw. We also have a Twitter handle @PoliceZimbabwe and Facebook page Zimbabwe Republic Police. To those who may have missed any of our previous episodes, do not despair, as you can watch all Crime Watch episodes on our YouTube channel, Zimbabwe Republic Police. It has been a pleasure having you along. We continue to encourage each other to comply with the government's directives in fighting COVID-19. Let us continue washing hands with soap and sanitizers, maintaining social distance and staying at home. From me, Onesisa Sibanda, and the crew behind the scenes, it's bye-bye for now.